Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love. It's another day. It's Friday. It's the 4th of July. Another quiet day in the transfer news, views, and clues for you. But there are a couple of stories that I want to bring to your attention. So, and we'll chew through it together. So slap yourself in, strap yourself in, slap the like button a little tickle, hit the subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's topics. I want to say a massive thank you for once again for all of the incredible support that you guys have shown the channel of late. The numbers are just through the roof, and very much appreciating it. So is Bugsy Malone, who's downstairs right now, having just got back from a walk. You can see it's hot outside because my hair's very thin, a little bit sweaty as well. Love to see it on camera. Very, very, very impressive professionalism for me, but it doesn't matter. Whatever. We're going to get straight in, guys. Let's start off with a story that is coming from, well, it's from Spurs Web. But we've got a couple of stories here. But the first one is how we're going to sort of swing it into action. Tottenham are essentially making a major change to their transfer policy this summer. This is coming from Barad Tarumalai, I believe, who's the Spurs Web. He's a very, very frequent poster of content. And yeah, we're going to get into that story right now. Let me get it on the screen for you. So it says, here's the story, that Tottenham, the Daily Mail, Sammy Mockbell have revealed that Tottenham Hotspur have changed their transfer policy at the start of the Thomas Frank era, with their new policy representing a major departure from the way they operated over the last 2 years. Under Postecoglou, Tottenham persisted with their strategy of signing young gems and giving them a platform to fulfill their potential. The Australians' philosophy of giving players the freedom to express themselves, or in other words, abdication of tactical specifics, apart from the frameworks, it was a good fit. And it would be difficult to argue that it did not work well, given how the likes of Destiny Udogie and Lucas Berghvall developed. Okay. However, towards the end of his time at Spurs, even Postecoglou spoke of the need for Tottenham to add more experience to the squad. And here's the shift. Apparently, we're now shopping for more experience this summer transfer window. Some Spurs fans were worried that the club's policy might not change after Postecoglou was sacked, and Lily White's early business having only served to strengthen those concerns. Having secured Matisse Tell in a permanent deal, Tottenham is soon expected to announce their arrival of these 20-year-old centre-back Kota Takai. However, despite those early deals, Sammy Mockbell has asserted on the Last Word on Spurs podcast that Tottenham will prioritise signing experienced players this window. Now, I just wanted to kind of, I guess, extend that story a little bit by saying, let's not forget that Tottenham have also signed Oliver Boast from Leeds. I think he's a 16-year-old striker, highly talented, highly rated. I've got no problem with these youth team or sort of ones for the future coming in, as long as they are of the kind of spray and play roles, like 2, 3, 4, 5 million pound, that sort of vibe. If there's a worldie out there that costs like a Lucas Berghvall, where someone like Johan Lange has gone out there and found someone of that caliber that he thinks can be the next big thing, then I'm okay for it as well. But I don't want to see any more sort of 30, 40 million pound signings like the likes of Odegaard cost, the likes of Archie Gray, for players that we're not sure are going to make it yet, because the number one common theme that you have to, I suppose, bake into your consciousness, your zeitgeist all of the time, is that just because they're talented at 17, 18 doesn't mean they're going to kick on. The kind of boulevard of broken dreams is littered with 23-year-old footballers who didn't quite make it. And that is just the reality of it. So I think whilst the world is pivoting, the footballing world is pivoting to signing up all of the best young talent, because there is this trend that, people don't want to be, clubs are not interested really in paying top money for 28-year-olds anymore and are older, because there's no sell-on value. And so the asset appreciation model is at least successful to some degree in theory if you go after the 18-year-olds, and some of those players actually hit it. But at the same time, the logic of that argument to me is a stretch, because if you're buying these players at inflated values because there's too much demand for those players across the footballing world, more fishing rods in that pond than usual, then you're overpaying for a future perfection that may or may not materialize. And then even when those players do get older, if the same trend is in place in 4 or 5 years' time, then those players won't have the same sell-on value as in prior years. And so there's a kind of a risk-reward ratio that needs to be considered here. But just to extend the argument here, it's not just Kota Takai and Matisse Tell. Obviously, it is Oliver Boast as well. And for what it's worth, guys, there is a story that's out today where, again, and I've done a little bit of research on this guy because he is a very interesting one. And this is coming from One Football, but it's been around the traps in a various few places. I think the story started out in quite a major journal over in Holland, and that's that Tottenham have entered the race for Dutch star Kees Smit. which, as I say, you may or may not have heard of him. He is a 19-year-old sort of prodigy, according to this report, has been on the radar of several top clubs across Europe, but Spurs and Chelsea appear to be leading the charge for his signature. The Dutch crown jewel drawing continental attention is the H2 tag here. Kees emerged as one of the brightest young midfielders in European football, described by TBR's football chief correspondent Graham Bailey as one of the crown jewels of Dutch football. The AZ Alkmaar talent has had a breakthrough season, making 43 appearances across all competitions in 24 and 25. His stock rose further this summer as he spearheaded the Netherlands under-21 side to a historic European Championship win. His performances were so commanding that he was named player of the tournament, a feat that has only intensified interest in his services. Spurs, according to Graham Bailey, Tottenham technical director Johan Lange has reportedly been following Smith for months, with both Spurs and Chelsea sending scouts to watch him in action during the recent under-19 Euros in Romania. As TBR Football notes, both clubs were in Romania to keep checks on Smith. They would have certainly not been disappointed with his displays. Now, look, I have gone and done a deep dive into him on using the Y Scout. I'm not going to show you any of the content here, but just to sort of let you know, if you see on the screen here, I was taking a look at his various departments. And one of the outliers that we need to have a look at is, whilst it says that he's had 45 actual appearances this season, if you actually look here, a lot of his best actions, for what it's worth, and there are some absolutely class moments, a lot of his best actions have come in AZ2, i.e. the equivalent of like the youth team for AZ, AZ2, AZ2. This is all in 2025, AZ2, AZ2, AZ2. This goal that he scored against Quick Boys for AZ was an absolute belter, really impressive. And also his through ball in the Fenerbahçe defeat when they lost 4-3 to Fenerbahçe, the through ball that led to that goal in this particular clip. I can't show you guys, but like I say, I've done my due diligence on him. I think he is a really, really interesting player. And again, I've got no problem with the idea of going after these guys, but the notion that Tottenham are having a pivot away from youth-centric model, well, that hasn't been demonstrated so far. The three names that Tottenham have really been linked with in terms of big noise, big news. In Mbeumo, that didn't really work out. Eze was a story that's been manufactured by, I guess, the journalists and by the fan base that are pushing for this story because they feel like he's one of our own, even though he isn't. But Tottenham haven't made an official move, or even I think they may have just had conversations, like basic tentative inquiries. Again, question marks over how much of a great fit he is, but for sure, the noise around Eze is a lot louder coming from people that don't know than it is coming from people that do. And so all of the stories, though, that seem to be materializing right now are young players. Don't forget, it was only a couple of weeks ago from the same under-19 tournament that I think Tottenham were looking at Leomi and another player, Pisili, who both play in Italy at the moment, and that Tottenham are apparently leading the charge for those types of players as well. So this notion that Tottenham and that Sami Mokbel is saying that Tottenham are moving away from the youth-centric approach, well, that might be true in theory, but in practice, all we're seeing is the stronger noises around certain more youth team players. As I said for the fourth time, I won't say it again, I don't have an issue with it, but I think it's obviously time that we get more. Like, if we're going to spend 100% of our budget, then only 10% of it should be on these spray and plays. For what it's worth, this guy, Kees at 19 years old, right-footed central midfielder, can play attacking. From what I've seen of him, he's far more attacking minded, likes to get outside the box in the final third and pop things around. He likes to sort of distribute left and right. He finds himself in nice little pockets. And I'll be honest, like, he absolutely excels in the clips I've seen for AZ2 and in the AZ first team. From what I've seen, I think he looks really, really nice and he looks very comfortable on the ball. Central midfielder, valued at €5 million, probably put a doubling of that on, just because of the caliber of the player and the fact that everyone's fishing in that kind of pool right now. Maybe even slightly more than that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was €10 million if the deal was done. Just to give you a quick little look-see at the FB rest for the guy. So this is relative to attacking midfielders and wingers, which, as I say, doesn't play as many minutes, but he's still a very, very handy player for someone so young. This is across the 14 biggest leagues in European football. So not against the big five, against the 6th down to the 14th, or 6th to 20th, I think that would be. But look, in terms of his expected assisted goals relative to wingers, still very good, 1 in every 5. His shots total, he has 2 shots on target, 2 shots a game. Not always on target, but still very impressive. His pass completion for a medium length pass, right? 92 or 93 percentile, which puts him in the 92%, which puts him in the 93rd percentile, even. Very handy for a guy very young. It shows you he's got confidence to spray the ball left and right, as I said, and it's very, very impressive. Key passes, a pass that leads to a shot, not an assist. Sorry, a pass that leads to the assist that leads to the shot, or the goal rather, is impressive. 2.09 a game. Passes into the penalty area, 1.27. All very, very strong. Through balls, 95th percentile for through balls. He doesn't, when he does make a pass, the passes are very rarely offside. So he knows how to read the game, and he can see things in his peripheral vision. All very important stuff. Shot creating actions, does something 4 times a game that leads to a shot on target, 90th percentile. From live ball passes, basically all of them, 97th percentile. Shots creating actions from take-ons that he creates, he does the take-on, 99th percentile. And this is relative to attacking players and wingers. But he plays a lot of his time as an 8, a box-to-box 8. I'm sorry, completely wrong. All of that stuff is for midfielders, not attacking. Let's have a look what his stats look like relative to wingers. As you can see, if you're someone that's playing as an 8, then you're going to be outperforming relative to people that are less likely to be introducing passes because they're further up the pitch and their job is to do more of the output stuff. As a midfielder, all the things I just said were very relevant and still very powerful in terms of relative to the attacking side. When he plays in that more advanced role, you can see where his excellence shines through. Really, really interesting player. Obviously, as an 8, you're going to be doing more defensive work. And so compared to wingers and forwards, you're going to excel there. So you have to take that stuff with a pinch of salt. But he gets on the ball a lot. For a young guy, he's very, very interested to get on the ball. He's not shy at all. Reminds me a little bit of an Arthur Vermeeren back in the day, if you remember him, who went to France, I think, or Leipzig, was it? Very, very interesting player, and someone that I think Tottenham would probably do well getting hold of for a 5 to 10 million euro fee, as long as it doesn't disrupt. If you can find the way to create those payments for future things, or put a buy and loan back deal where you pay for him next year, but you get him on the books, but you loan him back for a year. Any of those things are absolutely fine with me. Kees Smith, 1 to look out for, guys. 1 to look out for. So really interesting story there, guys, from Kees Smith. Look, I've got another couple of stories for you, but these, because they are about more advanced players, I'm going to put that into a second video that's coming out a little bit later on today. Keep a lookout for that. If you enjoy this stuff, smash the like button, smash the subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification bell. And if you are interested, please do get over to Spotify or Apple Pods, find Spurs Talk Show on there, smash the follow button, and give us a 5-star rating if you enjoy the content. Links are all in the description. Appreciate you all, guys. We'll see you on the next one, coming out very soon. Bye.